The United States is quietly signaling a major shift on Ukraine's security future, a move that could redefine the balance of power in Europe. After high-stakes peace talks in Berlin, a deal once thought impossible may now be within reach. The spotlight is back on Berlin, where intense diplomatic talks may shape the future of Ukraine's security for years to come. Following more than 5 hours of closed-door discussions, Washington says progress has been made, even as Europe carefully weighs the consequences of what could become the most critical diplomatic moment since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky appears cautiously willing to meet the United States halfway, signaling flexibility without surrendering Ukraine's core demands. Sources close to the talks describe an atmosphere of urgency, with all sides acknowledging that time is running out for a meaningful settlement. These discussions are not just about ending the war, they are about redefining how Ukraine will be protected once the fighting stops. The Berlin meetings brought together President Zelensky and U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for extended negotiations lasting over 5 hours. Officials confirmed that talks are set to continue on December 15th, underlining the seriousness of the diplomatic effort. At the heart of the discussions is a revised 20-point peace framework, scaled down from an earlier and more ambitious 28-point proposal. That earlier plan faced strong pushback from Ukraine and European allies, who viewed several provisions as forcing premature concessions, particularly on territory and security. Ukrainian officials made it clear, any agreement that weakens Ukraine's long-term safety would be unacceptable. As a result, negotiators returned to the table with a leaner, more focused framework aimed at balancing realism with deterrence. This revised plan is now being described as the most viable diplomatic path forward since the war began. A key demand from Kyiv has now moved to the center of negotiations: bilateral security guarantees between Ukraine and the United States, modeled after NATO's Article 5. Zelensky's position marks a calculated shift. While full NATO membership remains opposed by Washington and some allies, Ukraine is now seeking legally binding, NATO-style guarantees that would deter future Russian aggression, without formal alliance entry. Ukrainian officials insist that history cannot be repeated. They argue that any deal without enforceable protection mechanisms would simply delay another conflict. For Kyiv, security guarantees are not a political preference, they are a non-negotiable necessity. Crucially, Washington appears open to this demand. According to Axios, the Trump administration is actively considering NATO-like bilateral security guarantees for Ukraine, guarantees that would be sent to the U.S. Congress for approval. Senior U.S. officials described the proposal as strong enough to reassure Kyiv, but carefully designed to stop short of an open-ended military commitment. As one official put it, "We want to give the Ukrainians a security guarantee that will not be a blank check, but will be strong enough." This openness signals a notable shift in U.S. posture, aligning closely with European assessments of the moment. Finland's President Alexander Stubb says diplomacy has reached a critical phase, with the United States, Ukraine, and Europe now working in parallel. For the first time in years, peace talks have moved from theory to practical implementation. Despite the momentum, major fault lines remain. Russia has not endorsed the revised framework and continues to stand firm on territorial demands. Ukraine, meanwhile, rejects any deal that trades land for uncertain promises. The success of these negotiations now hinges on whether U.S.-backed security guarantees can turn diplomatic progress into lasting stability. As European leaders point out, 3 documents are now being drafted simultaneously: a 20-point peace plan, binding security guarantees for Ukraine, and a comprehensive post-war reconstruction program. A peace agreement may be closer than ever, but its durability will depend on what happens next. If you found this analysis useful and want more clear, in-depth updates on global security and breaking news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss our next update.